This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're down at the McGuigan gym today in London. With me, the source, Lawrence Okolie. Lawrence, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I can't complain. Let's get into it. You got yourself a fight, July 6th, Manchester. Jack Massey. Talk to me about the fight.
Yeah, it should be a good hard fight. Hopefully a good looking fight as well. I mean, Jack Massey, very good fighter. I think he's probably top two, one or two, him and Askins. Although he's obviously unproven, Jack Massey, and with who he's fought. If you look at his style, his amateur pedigree, he's probably going to be the top person I've boxed, him or Askins. So I look forward to it. He's very strong, come forward. It's in his hometown, so he's going to be game. Probably sell a lot of tickets. So he's going to be up for it, do you know what I mean?
I'd imagine it's hard to match yourself at domestic level these days, after cleaning up for the Commonwealth title, for the British title. Jack Massey is someone who was a decent amateur. He fought your stablemate Chris Smith, someone he knows very well. He now takes himself on. It's fair to say it's his first serious test as a professional. Do you think that lack of experience in the paid ranks might play a part?
You don't know until you get in the ring, do you know what I mean? He might rise to the occasion, might crumble under the occasion. He might feel my power and think it's not worth it. He might feel it and get excited and want to get me back. So we're only going to have to wait and see that I'm prepared for whatever, really, do you know what I mean? So it's good for him to be taking a step up. And you never know until you know, innit?
That's it. Now back in sort of March time, there was talk that you might be fighting for the WBA world title against Denis Lebedev. It's a fight I think a lot of people are excited about. A fight I think a lot of people were giving you quite a good chance in. You were ready to roll the dice, so to speak, fairly early in your career. It didn't happen for whatever reason. Do you think, in a way, that might be a blessing? You've just linked up with Shane McGuigan. You guys can work on a few things before you make that jump?
It's this way, isn't it? See what I mean? Like, if I got the opportunity, that would have been a blessing. Not having it, that might be a blessing in the future. It just is where it is. It wasn't the time, so now I defend against Jack Massey and just handle business.
Final question on that situation. Could you talk to us a bit about what happened there, the reasons why maybe the fight didn't go ahead?
I think it's simple, just like money and stuff like that. So I was up for the fight. I was told, you know what, if you want it, it's there. I did want it. The team wanted it. Most importantly, I was, you know what I mean, asking for it. But then I think he either wanted too much money or wants to retire. Either way is where it is. Do you know what I mean? My opportunity will come as long as I can beat Jack Massey, and whoever comes next, eventually I'll get my opportunity.
As mentioned, this will be your first fight with Shane McGuigan. I know you guys have been working together for a little while now. What can we expect to see from you in the way of development, and how well is this link-up going so far?
It's going well. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it works on fight. Now, obviously, I've got my own sort of style and stuff that I like doing. I appreciate and value the input that he's been putting in. And it's going to be interesting to see how the addition, with like obviously the fact I've got natural power and like good athleticism, how it matches with like sort of set game plans, sort of rhythms, being able to break someone down. Because Jack Massey is going to take a lot of breaking down. He's going to be fired up, ready to go through hell. I think he's not stupid, so he knows that I've got power. Same I know he's got some decent power. So he has to be ready to go through the trenches. So it's going to take more than just throwing the right hand to sort of get rid of him. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays a part. I do, even from sparring, just like the sort of instructions that he's been given and what kind of openness that creates.
Let's talk about training. As I mentioned, you've just changed camps. You're probably still getting a bit used to things. There will be a bedding in process. But talking about training, you've been sparring with Daniel Dubois, I understand. Obviously, you've got fellow cruiserweight Chris Smith in camp. How's it been going?
Yeah, it's calm. Same as always, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Just it's boxing now. I kind of know my body and obviously always developing. So I've got a good natural engine because I've been training for 12 rounds for a while now and was on the GB team training full time. So I've got a good base fitness and I just peak up to the fight day. I'm in the last four and a bit weeks. So I'm staying literally around the corner from the gym, just back and forth, getting it in. I sparred with Dan this morning. So obviously you don't want to spar heavyweights for too long, but at this far out from the fight, do you know what I mean? Being able to push, pull, punch with heavyweight, especially someone like Dan Dubois, I don't think even with a head guard and sparring gloves that Jack Massey punches anywhere near as hard as him. But he will be a bit sharper and a bit maybe try and work a little bit more. So it'll be interesting. In terms of other training, do you know what I mean? I like the pads with Shane. Normal training runs are runs, and S&C is S&C.
Now, when you're sparring with these heavyweights, Daniel Dubois has been here. I'm sure you've sparred with plenty before. Is a bit of you thinking in time, maybe I might make this jump, I can handle this power, I'm big enough? Is that something you're thinking about down the line?
Yeah, down the line. I think the only time I'm going to go up to heavyweight is when I can't comfortably make 91. Right now I make the cruiserweight limit like without really killing myself. It just takes a little bit of discipline in the last week or so. So if I can't make the weight, eventually I get too big or whatever, then I will make the move up whether I'm ready for it or not. Do you know what I mean? It's just what happens naturally. But as for now, I've got a lot of attributes over cruiserweights, and they don't realise until they're in the ring. Like, for example, Jack probably watches me thinking to himself, I'm going to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. He's rubbish. And then he'll get in the ring and he'll figure out why. If it was so easy to take away my right hand, why no one's really done it? If it was so easy to work on the inside, why no one's done it? If I was just so rubbish, why no one's been able to beat me? Even though I've been taking minor steps up. And we'll see.
Now, you've been in the domestic fights over the last couple of years with the likes of Chamberlain, Watkins, Askin. I think general consensus is the Massey fight is a good domestic fight again. Yeah. 2 unbeaten British cruiserweights. Without overlooking him, because I know you've got a full camp ahead and you'll be taking that fight 100% seriously, there's been all this talk of world title fights and stepping up and being ready to go to that next level. In the next 12 months, what's your ambition? Do you think the world title fight can come in the next sort of year or so?
It's hard. Do you know what I mean? It depends on how my fight goes with Jack Massey. Like, if Jack Massey fucking works me into the ground and then wins, do you know what I mean? Then we don't talk about that. Like, you see in boxing that you can be here today and then down here tomorrow in the eyes of the public. Obviously, I always keep myself as, you know, I love myself, so do you get what I mean? But ultimately, you know what I mean, if I can't win, and most importantly, probably by stoppage, then we can't really talk about world title fights and stuff like that. We have to talk about another domestic fight and so on and so forth. But ultimately, I do believe I'm going to stop him. So.
You mentioned anything can happen, and for that reason you don't want to look beyond Jack Massey. We did see a seismic upset over the weekend. I'm sure it was a hard watch for you. Anthony Joshua lost his unified heavyweight championship to Andy Ruiz over in New York. I know you were there. Was that a difficult watch for you?
Yes.
What did you make of the fight?
Yeah, it was a good fight. Obviously, what happened. I felt like, you know, it's one of them ones where a different punch, different time, different. It's just stuff happens, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But I feel like, yeah, it was obviously hard to watch. That's the truth, and I haven't really spoken about it. But yes, it's not good.
Looking back at the fight, I think a lot of people in the days that followed are asking the question, what went wrong for Anthony Joshua? What was wrong with Anthony Joshua? Did something happen in camp, etc.? There's been a lot of stories coming out, but you know Anthony very well, you'll know the ins and outs. Is this just a case for you of there was nothing really wrong, Ruiz was just the better man on the night and Anthony had an off night? Is that the case? I
just think at the end of the day, stars make fights, and obviously I do still believe AJ is a better fighter than him, despite the result. But it's a thing where he's a grown man, do you know what I mean? So he's going to dust himself off and come back again. What happened in the night is he lost and Ruiz won, and hopefully they fight again next, and then Anthony Joshua wins and restores the balance.
As I mentioned, there's all sorts of things going around, whether it be rumours of sparring or how he looked coming into the ring, or all these sorts of different things that people are coming out with to maybe try and justify what we saw on the night. Have you heard anything about any of that, or is it all just smoke?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's rumours are rumours, isn't it? Like, there's rumours about everything. I've heard rumours that I know are not true, so it just is what it is. At the end of the day, if when AJ knocked him down in the third round, Ruiz didn't make the count, there's no rumours. It's just, okay, the train keeps going. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, what obviously as Team AJ, like, I feel like it's not really important to kind of dwell on it and what happened. Look at the footage, look at how camp went, figure what you've got to do moving forward, dust off, correct the mistakes and get it cracking.
You know Anthony better than most. He's someone who's had a big influence on not only you as a person but on your career as well, I'd imagine. In terms of mentality, a lot of people are saying this rematch, if it happens with Ruiz, is make or break, are you absolutely certain in your mind that Anthony Joshua will get back to winning ways and put this all behind him?
It's boxing. I think like where like normal people or fans don't realise it's boxing. So it's not the first time Anthony Joshua's lost in his life. It happens in boxing. Do you know what I mean? You don't want it to happen. But at the end of the day, when you don't get to the level that Anthony Joshua's at by being like deterred and stuff like that. So what people obviously seem to forget is he's at the top of the sport, one of the biggest names in the sport, multi-millionaire, but yet he keeps himself level-headed. You never see him like letting the fame get to him. That's not the impression I get. That's not the impression most people get. So the same way he doesn't let the the positives get to his head, same way he doesn't let the negatives get to him. So he's taken a loss. Okay, what do I do to get the win back? It's just simple stuff.
Final question on this subject. I mentioned it before. Do you disagree with those that say that this next fight is make or break? It's a must-win.
It's a difficult one. So obviously it depends how you want to look at it. Is it make or break in terms of what though? Do you know what I mean? In terms of him being a world champion, absolutely. In terms of him being a boxer, no. He's under 30. Do you know what I mean? But I do expect him to win. And on top of that, it just being make or break. Other fighters have lost. Do you know what I mean? And come back. Styles make fights, but I do expect him to win.
Let's talk about someone else in camp, Chris Billham-Smith. He's got himself another pretty decent domestic cruiserweight matchup against Richard Riakporhe. I'd imagine you know a bit about both of them. How do you see that fight going?
How do I see the fight going? Really depends. It really depends. It's a very good fight. I feel like I don't want to say too much, obviously, because I'm in camp with Chris, but I just feel like it depends on who's able to execute a game plan under that kind of pressure. Yeah, that's it really. I do think it will be a good fight, and I do think that it will be won by stoppage as opposed to points. Okay,
Lawrence Okolie, I won't keep you for too much longer. Thank you very much for speaking at Boxing Social.
Thank you. I did tell you don't ask me about AJ, but you still did. It's the last time you and me did an interview.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm joking. Oh, my God.